today I'll be talking about car culture. We'll be exploring the passion, identity, and lifestyle behind the wheel. Well, to begin with an introduction, car culture refers to the societal and cultural significance of cars as not just some sort of function as transportation, but as also an art form that involves modifying cars, racing them, collecting them, and showcasing them. This type of culture, our car culture, reflects our inner personalities, our personal identities, our social statuses, and our sort of regional trends. Well, first of all, we have to look at global perspectives. Each country in this world, no matter what country you look at, has its own specific type of car culture. I'll just talk about the four big ones, like the main ones. First of all, the United States of America. The United States of America, the car culture over there is mostly about muscle cars, road trips, and car shows. For example, Route 66. What this means, what a car show is basically it's like someone's showing off their art by, going to car shows and doing whatever. Then there's Japan. Japan has more about street or toad racing. Toad racing is racing in Japanese mountains. There's also JDM, which stands for Japanese Domestic Market Vehicles. There's drifting, and there's a cartoon culture in Japan, which is mostly about not specifically giving the cars any type of look, but except more like tuning the engine itself or changing specific parts of the engine to make it more powerful. Then there's Germany. German car culture is more about precision engineering, the famous Autobahn highway, which has no speed limit, and the luxury performance brands, for example, BMW, Mercedes, etc., etc. Now, an interesting one that people usually forget about is Middle Eastern car culture. Middle Eastern car culture is more about exotic car ownership, desert rallies, and customization. A lot of rally cars produced are often tested in the Middle East, especially in deserts. We'll have to look at also Armenian car culture. There's a lot to go into this. Well, first of all, what popular imports are out there for Armenian car culture? Well, to begin, a lot of Japanese right-hand drive cars have been imported into Armenia, but there's also a major amount of German brands on Armenian roads. A growing scene of car modification has been seen in Armenia. Street meets and drifting have especially been seen among the youth. Now, the obvious thing about this is the Soviet legacy. There's a lot of nostalgia, especially from the older generation, for classic Soviet cars like the Lada, the Volga, and especially the car made in the Armenian USSR, the Yeraz. There's a lot of practical concerns in Armenia for car culture. For example, fuel costs, which are pretty expensive, road conditions, and especially import taxes. They cause a lot of issues for Armenian car culture, and they are often the things that hinder Armenian car culture development. Now, what is the meaning of cars? Is there any sort of meaning towards car culture overall? Yes, there is. It's an art form. Cars often symbolize freedom, independence, and creativity. You take something raw and produce something beautiful out of it by spending money on it, working blood, sweat, and tears for it, and constantly adjusting it until it looks exactly like you want it to look. It's a personal art form. It's like taking care of plants, creating art. It's almost like its own art form. And this results in communities forming, communities bonding, and people basically coming together to have shared automotive interests. Now, as for a conclusion, car culture varies globally, and it reflects a shared human connection to freedom and identity, just like how art does it, because yet again, I personally believe that car culture is a form of art. And as technology evolves, so does the culture. Electric vehicles, autonomous driving, and digital communities are quote-unquote reshaping the future. That's on paper. In reality, a lot of people do hate electric vehicles and autonomous driving. But there has been a wide spread of internet communities that have been spreading car culture and have been making it even better. There's many different types of car cultures no one would even know about. For example, Swedish car culture. Does anyone believe Swedish car culture exists? No, but it exists, and it's interesting. Well, yeah, that's my conclusion. Thank you very much for listening.